the second time me and Mark have done a podcast together. For the first time was in Dubai in the podcast marathon, where you're actually the first one. So I was quite fresh on that one, in all fairness. But towards the back end of the day, when I've done about 16 to 20, I were a bit rough. But yeah, so bits about me. I'm not really good at this side, but my name is obviously Ben Hawksworth. I'm the founder and director of CP Education. So CP Education is a level 2 and level 3 online certificates, and also a kind of CP Academy, which is like a business academy. Then also the founder and director of the Coach Consultant, which is now in essence a business consultancy agency. So for example, we'll have like automations, marketing, social media, obviously the consultancy side, copywriting, email marketing, paid media, pretty much everything that a company would need kind of in one service really. And then obviously the co-founder with Ben Bray of the Coach Convention, which we've just finished now. So just in terms of kind of bits about me again, I used to be a PT all those years ago. Developed, which I'm sure we'll dive into the story behind that soon, but kind of set a bit of a plan up this year. I was obviously doing quite well last year, don't get me wrong, like hitting some decent figures with coaching and mentoring combined. But in 2022, I remember obviously speaking to Mark about kind of what I was actually going to plan to do this year, and it was stupid in all fairness to try and do so much at once. And that was to basically launch the free tier education platform, the consultancy and the convention at the same time. But obviously it did pay off. So we in essence hit 10 times revenue within 10 months of kind of going, and we've only actually had this education platform live for 3 months. So as it stands right now, we're sitting with like a 7-figure business within the space of like 1 year. So it's just a bit of a mad turnaround, to kind of say the least. And we're pretty much only just getting started now. Like, so moving into next year, we're releasing a full marketing campaign for the first time ever for CP Education. We're looking at kind of a future marketing campaign for the Coach Consultant, and obviously hitting the Coach Convention again. And obviously, as you know, when you hit marketing right, we should be looking at, I would like to say, coming in and doubling his intake. Probably not hitting 10 times revenue again, I know that, but I'd like to double as like financial revenue within 12 months, kind of from this point again.
Yeah, that's insane. Like over the last 10 months, the success is ridiculous. Like when I see what you're doing on social media and then talking to you through WhatsApp, I don't understand how you have enough hours in the day to do what you do. And so when you 10 months ago, or even a year ago, whilst you're sort of starting to conceptualize these things and plan them out, what made you decide to do all of these things in one go together?
Well, my main goal behind what we're doing is it's almost like a triangle. So when you think about level 2 and you think about level 3, you think about business consultancy. It's a triangle of like this professional development pathway. And for me, at the start of the year, I was like, nobody's doing this. Like, nobody's got an academy which is following on from a level 2 and level 3. Nobody's got a business consultancy following on from an academy as a professional development pathway. And it's like, that was like my reason why is like, I've obviously been a coach. I understand the worst and the best sides of the fitness industry. And I was like, look, for what it's taken me 8 years to do before I did all this, I can get someone to do that in within 12 months, but in less than 12 months now. And like my kind of philosophy behind it, which we'll probably dive into in a minute, is like, if I can get from the bottom of the triangle to the top of the triangle, then fucking anyone can. Put it that way. And that's what I kind of say. It does not matter like where you are, your starting point, your personal, professional, fucking strengths, weaknesses, like, as long as you've got the right framework and the right support, the right work ethic, and you learn from your lessons, that you can come in and you can achieve anything. And that's, I'm by far not a public figure or even a role model, you could say. And I don't act like a normal business consultant, to say the least, but I generally do think that like everybody has potential. It's just a case of a lot of people out there just don't have the right strategy and guidance to actually do it. And there's a lot of people out there who are making money off people and not providing the right guidance. And then people are in the same, they're obviously paying for these services, and then 3-4 months down the line, they're in the exact same spot as what they first started out. And that's kind of the main values and ethos behind what we do. Like, it's that my podcast is called Do It Right, which is like a northern term for do it right, basically. But that's kind of what I think is that, look, if you're going to be a coach, do it right. If you're going to be a mentor, do it right. If you're going to be a business consultant, do it right. If you're going to do life, do it right. And that's kind of the main ethos behind what we do. And that's been the biggest reason for the success this year. Like, so for example, like with consultancy clients, we're working with some of the best companies in the UK, the US, Dubai. Like, we wouldn't have got that if we weren't doing the right thing and we weren't providing the right service. Like, we've done no form of heavy marketing campaign for any company yet. But all we've done is posted on my social media. And as everyone knows who does watch this, I've got fuck all followers. So it's not really the biggest form of lead generation. Everything that we've kind of done this year has all come from like the strength of the referral system with the service that we've kind of provided.
And how did you, like, based on the success you've had personally, and then with the people that you're working with, like, where did this all start for you? So let's go back to like day one. How did you get into just in the fitness industry in general? Like, what was that journey for you?
So I finished, again, a bit of a strange one kind of coming. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was playing a bit of rugby league. I was a bit all over the place in life, in all fairness, emotionally, fucking financially, everything, security, stability. And I was like, right, I need to do something here. And I was like, right, I was doing a BTEC, as you do, as the type of person that I used to be. I was doing a BTEC. I was like, right, sound. I need to get into university. So I was like, sweet. I need to do 2 A levels and a BTEC in the space of 10 months to get into university. So that was 2 A levels. So the 2-year course. So it weren't a single one. So I had to pretty much do 4 A levels in the space of like 10 months workload to kind of get into university. So then I got in, and then basically did a sport and exercise science degree. And then the back end of uni, I was like, look, at my own security and kind of independence is probably the best way to describe it. My own independence is really, really important. And I was like, look, I didn't really want to kind of come out of university and have to rely on anyone. So I was like, right, I started a group training model at the same time as my dissertation as well. So I was basically starting a business at the same time as actually finishing my dissertation at university. And I didn't have a clue about business. I set up a limited company doing group training outside, like mint in summer, as you know. And then when it comes to winter, it always went tits up. So I only had, I probably had about £3,000 savings from a grandparent. And I obviously fucking blew it all on this training kit. And obviously it just went south. And I was like, right, sound, I need to do something different now. So I come out with a sport and exercise science degree. And I was like, right, so next best thing, I'm going to move into kind of personal training. I went into personal training at that point, and I worked up to probably probably 2.5K a month. So you're talking a normal wage in a quite short space of time as a PT.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really grow at that gym. So I left to go to another facility, totally ripped, started again. Went totally from fresh, working graveyard shifts again, even though I'd been a PT for 2-3 years, paying full rent, because that's what I had to do to kind of get started again. Just did the work.
So literally, like, straight back to the beginning, like day one, you were back in the gym, like all over again.
Oh yeah, so I had to pretty much start. Then that was the first time I did that. So the first time I did that was at like 2.5K because it weren't the right environment. And then I went to another gym, worked up to around 15K a month as a PT. I weren't even using Instagram. I weren't even using I don't think I even did an online coaching service, anything like what Kunis is like, put it that way. I was just literally being a good coach in the gym. Then the second that it comes to it, right, I need to change my environment again. And I was like, right, what do I do? And I thought, right, I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro. So I was like, right, I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro because it's going to give me some headspace. Because at this point, as I've spoken on previous podcasts with Mark about, like, I used to really struggle with kind of my head. And I was like, right, I need somewhere I can go where I've got no distractions. Because there's no internet up Kilimanjaro, as you can imagine, and you're walking. For
Ben, you just decided this like on a whim. Was it like an escapism thing? Was it due to stress, or what triggered that for you?
It was stress. It was stress at the facility that I was at, but it was more stress with how unhappy I was with myself, and how I'd not addressed underlying issues with myself and my past, and I was like. And it was really coming in the way of, like, I could have earned a lot more as a PT if I didn't have a massive ego, fucking like what I used to have. And I was like, right, I need to change. I'm going to go and climb Kilimanjaro. Come back 10 days later, and I said, right, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm not going to grow any further at this gym. So I did the exact same again. Totally dropped the business, moved to Rotherham, and then basically I had to start totally from scratch again. So the third start of PT business I'd had basically at this point. And then within 12 months from that, because I'd learned so many lessons on the first time and the second time, I'm blasted up to the best part of 20-25 grand a month within 12 months. So it's not the first time I've aggressively scaled the company in a short space of time, but like obviously I've worked up to that 25K mark, sitting very comfortable. And then again, an opportunity come around to take over a kitchen. I like challenges. So for example, with me, with consultancy, people say like, why do you work? We work with meal prep companies, supplement companies, energy drink companies. Yeah, the majority of what I do is high performance coaching businesses, but I love any type of kind of new challenge within business. So that's what that's why I like, for example, every client that we take on, I treat them all differently, because if I do copy and paste shit to everyone, I get bored. It's not about them.
Yeah. And when you did, Ben, when you started up for the third time, like, because I could imagine, say I'm in the gym, I'm a personal trainer, right? And I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And you come in and then you're doing this for the third time now. You're starting on the gym floor again. And I see you in the space of 6 to 12 months get up to 25K a month. What is it that you're doing that I'm not doing? Like, why were you so successful in building up that business?
It was, I knew who my client was. And I would say that the biggest thing that scaled my businesses was kind of my personality. So I would literally, I would speak it when people come to sessions, and even if I were doing 10 hours PT a day, my energy in that final session would be exactly the same as the first one. When people kind of come in, especially as a PT, there won't be any awkward silences, there won't be any gaps. I treat it like a real job. And I think that's where people go wrong with it. Like when I was in there was not a moment when I used to be a PT where I was not watching someone's technique. I was not tracking the reps. I was not controlling the tempo, their intensity, their execution. And then in between the gaps, I was just having a laugh with them. So people come into these sessions and they'll come out of it and go, Jesus Christ, I've not only had a good time, I've had a laugh. I've got a relationship with the person, which is massive, but also I'm kind of really taking a lot from it. And over time, that's how I kind of worked up to hitting like £250, £300 a month kind of PT packages with kind of online coaching combined.
And did you realize, so in doing that, which sounds like if you've done it 3 times and you're going through that process and just through your personality and the way that you are, did you realize that what you were doing meant that you had that success? So by talking to people, by engaging with them, by understanding them as an individual and providing a good service, and presumably in those conversations, you're starting to understand people's pain points, why they're in the gym, what their focus is, what their goals are in life, who they are as people. Did you understand why you were so successful? Or did you just think like, I work fucking hard and that's why I'm successful?
No, it was, I can't remember when it was. It was probably because I opened NutriFast, which we obviously closed down again, and I started back up again. And I did the same again with online coaching. I went from 25 clients to 85 clients within kind of 6 weeks. And the one thing that you kind of get over time is it's coaching intuition, I like to call it. Like I would build, and it's the same as what I'm a bit like with business now. Like when a client came to me, I would know what to do. Like no matter what client it was, I'd turn around and go, right, so based on where you are right now, this, and even if it was unorthodox and they're like, I'm not sure why I'm even doing that, I would know what type of strategy to use to get the outcome that they need. And that was back then anyway, that was all the marketing that I needed. Because when these people kind of went through and you've got 60 clients and every 6 weeks, people are coming out with absolute next level kind of results. Like my referrals were blowing up, my inquiries were blowing up. So, for example, when at the start of 2022, I needed an investment for CP education. So, at the start of this year, that's when I basically said, right, I'm coaching again now. And all I did, I reused all the sick results that I got 3-4 years ago for 6 weeks straight. I didn't use a single new client result, because this is where a lot of people go wrong. Yes, you've got Instagram outreach, you've got DM work, you've got email marketing, you've got fucking click funnels, paid media, you've got all these fancy different marketing campaigns, which you do 100% have to look into kind of down the line to scale up to 6, 7 figures onwards. But nothing will ever come close to you simply knocking out back-to-back results and your service and your program simply just being better than everyone's. But I'm a confident person, but I used to know that I was a better coach than everyone. And for example, if someone come in and I saw online PT in the gym, if I was like, they're doing something better than me, I'd mine off them. So that's something that I've done for 8 years, is every single person that I come into contact with, whether it's a good or a bad experience, I'll learn from it. So if someone knows something that I don't know, I'll ask them or I'll pay them. If I work with someone, I had a bad experience, I'll write down, right, that's what they did, what I didn't like. That's not what I'm going to do with my client. So over time, the amount of information that I've kind of processed is with positive, and I'm avoiding the shit which I know knows kind of not. And this is where I think a lot of coaches get stuck within themselves. If you're constantly just feeding off the lessons and information that you've got right in front of you right now, you're never going to learn. If you've got an influence or connection or a relationship with 25, 30 different professionals, mentors, different stuff like that over the years, then you're going to take so much kind of from that. Like my consultancy now is built as an agency due to my experiences with working with people before, because I know that I know that's what I know that if I was going to back then, if I was going to invest into kind of support for my business, this is what I would need. I wouldn't need someone just sat on a call one-to-one with me. I wouldn't want to be in a group call with 30 people talking about business. I'd want to be paying for a team to be managing my company so I could focus on just being a coach.
Yeah. And it's quite interesting. So from what you described, even back then, like when you were talking to people and engaging with them, it was on an outcome-driven objective, right? It was you were selling them on the outcome of what they're going to be able to achieve with you. You're using testimonials in order to drive growth and drive your business, and then networking as well, building up like a strong network of people that you could learn from.
Oh God, yeah, I am objective as fuck. Like my mate Stacey, like everyone who's in contact, like, I will go out of my way to read people as much as possible. So like, and it's not that I'm using them; it's just that the more I've worked with thousands of people, and it's like over time, what I've realized is your skills as a person is the fundamental thing which will build your business. So, for example, there's you've got to think across, if you've got a company across your week, right? So, for example, this week, I would not know how, I would say maybe 200 to 300 conversations I've had already with different people, right? How you conduct yourself and how you respond within them situations will get the type of outcome that you want. So back in the day when I was all over the place kind of mentally, I used to fucking sabotage conversations and sabotage relationships. Whereas now I know how to conduct myself to get the outcomes that I want, whether that be personally or professionally. So for example, everyone's not going to come to you in a one-dimensional way. This is the same with clients. Clients will come to you with different types of feedback, different types of responses. If you're going to make success in business, you need to know how to manage people and a team. Because if you don't manage your team, then nothing gets fucking done. So it's a case, and it's the same with clients. If you've got 60 clients, they're not going to have the same personality traits. So you've got to understand. Like I would probably say I've listened to over 100 hours worth of human psychology and human performance literature, without question. Just so I can kind of, one, because I was trying to figure myself out as well. But so I've spoke to you that before. But what I basically did there is like, right, so if someone's behaving like this is probably why they feel like that. If I can come in and obviously, like, don't get me wrong, sometimes you've got to be very black and white. That's another topic. I like people that say like, look, I will go out of my way to help as many people as I possibly can, but I also won't fuck about keeping someone on if they've started to become deadwood or start to become a problem. And for sure. And I see, and again, I've got a lot of people within business and stuff like that. A lot of clients, if you've got a client who's coming in and they're taking energy from you and they're taking resources from you, you don't need that shit. It's the same as if you've got a company. If someone in your team or your business is slowing you down and causing more problems, don't drag that relationship on. Address it. If it's not improved, you drop it out, because
for sure.
you can't move forward with personal and professional development while you've got shit dragging you back. And that's what I used to do.
It's also unfair if it's a client in particular that's doing it, it's also unfair to the rest of your clients, because if that one person is paying the same price as everyone else, but they're taking 80% of your time, they're causing stress, which has a knock-on effect with your other clients. Like, you owe it to your other clients to get rid of that person so that you can continue to deliver at the level you want to.
Yeah, I learned that lesson when I was personal training, because if I used to have 10 PT sessions in a day, and let's just say it come to the 4th hour and I was training someone who were an absolute dickhead to me, for the next 3 hours I'd be in a bad mood. Yeah. So those 3 clients would get a poor quality service because of my mood from one single person. It's the same as now with I carry it through. If I have any type of relationship with, say, for example, within consultancy, and again, I've professionally ended a lot of relationships this year because either they're not holding their side of the bargain, or even sometimes there's just a little bit of a clash in approaches. Because and again, thinking about personality traits and what people want, your approach is not going to fit everyone, but you don't need to make it fit everyone, because there's a lot of people out there who will pay you for you. So, for example, when someone comes on with us, I'm very dead straight, right? This is what you need to do. This is what we're going to do. If it comes down to it and say, for example, they've not held their side of the bargain up, I'm like, well, you're slowing me down now for your own business.
Yeah.
And it's a case of like, that's something I had to learn, because especially when you've got high ticket kind of performance stuff, like sometimes, you might have to drop a £250 client in order to open time and energy and headspace to take on 10 people who are good.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's that short-term gratification where someone's like, oh my God, I'm dropping a client, I'm losing a bit of money. If you totally remove your emotional investment to finance, then you'll progress within business.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're gonna have to take steps back. You're gonna have to drop investments. You're gonna have to spend it. So there's no point fucking getting attached to it.
Yeah. It's almost that whole thing of taking one step backwards to take like a giant leap forwards by getting rid of that kind of dead weight.
Yeah, 100%.
So now third gym, you've built up your client base there. What happened from that point? After a year of being there, you're doing quite well. What was the decision then?
Oh, so is this when I come back from Kilimanjaro?
Come back from Kilimanjaro, you're in your third gym. You built that up now to like 75, 80 clients working with you.
So when I went, obviously I moved over to Rotherham and I started NutriFast, and the people who listen to this will probably know what NutriFast was. It were a meal prep company. Great concept. Absolutely, honestly, like we took over Arnold's Festival. Like the amount of people I have calls with now, like, oh my God, you used to own NutriFast. And they're thinking it's like this company what's massive, and I'm like, don't speak to me about it. But for example, like we opened that 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. So in essence, we started with about £40,000 investment at the start. It ended up toppling up to £120,000 within 18 months later to try and even keep it going. And then it basically got to a point where I was like, I was not willing to put myself or Stacey in that environment of stress anymore. So we just literally cut ties with it. And that obviously kind of left me thinking, fuck me, what am I doing now? Post-pandemic, I'd not trained or looked after myself, but I'd also started building the framework to this concept, to this mentoring platform that I was kind of thinking about doing.
With NutriFast, so a couple of things on that. Like one is, how did you get to the decision of, because once you're in it that far, right, you've been doing it for a year, 18 months, and then you realize that there's debt mounting on it, it's costing you, it's causing stress in your relationships. How do you make the decision then that you're just going to cut your losses and continue with life? Is that an easy thing for you?
It is, yeah, it is for me. Because I've done it so many times, because I like turn around and go, right, this person, I'm not having that, or I don't like this environment, or for example, I've changed houses, changed cities. I've even little stupid stuff like I used to work in the attic upstairs, but how my head operates is it was quite dark and it was quite gloomy, and it just. It was quite closed in, and I didn't have space to think. So I was like, right, within 2 weeks, I'd renovated downstairs and moved my office down there, so there were a big window. And so, but now, so since I've been in this office, my work rate, my headspace, and everything has improved tenfold. That's not because I'm working any differently. It's just the environment that I put myself in. And it's like when we had NutriFast, it was constant stress. Like, yeah, we could have dragged it on, and we could have done well with it, but the thing is, it's like, again, environment. My home environment, while that company was going, was horrific, and nothing. Like, for example, nothing's going to come between me and my relationship. Nothing's going to come between me and myself. And I was sat thinking, I'm wasting so much time on this company when my biggest skills are within kind of coaching and mentoring. So I was like, right, I knew that if I come back in and I dropped it out, I could have total focus on what I'm doing now. So then I dropped it off. I had the concept of what we do now in my head. We needed some money. So that's when I blasted out online coaching, ran that for 6 months. So I finished online coaching in kind of July this year, kind of all together. But so I just had that first 6 months just to kind of get some cash flow back into the company. Again, it's not because I was doing it for money, because I needed it I was still providing a high quality service to all these people.
Yeah.
But like, then it was basically just a case of, alongside online coaching, I was building this 16 module online OSL kind of course, and then obviously we're planning the convention and stuff like that. So it's like people, I said this on my Instagram, sort of, people turn and go, oh my God, yeah, it's incredible. You've done this within like 10 months and stuff like that. But I feel more alive now when I'm working. I've cut my amount of call time down that I can do. I'm training every single morning. I'm eating, I'm drinking. I'm like Do you know what I mean? I'm actually looking after myself now. And for 10 months, I was not doing that. I was, to hit what we've done this year, I was averaging between probably 50 to 60 hours of direct one-to-one call time per week. Before I had the agency, I was building the OSL online coaching the OSL education platform, planning the convention, online coaching, and managing 40 companies on my own at the same time. That was like levels breaking point for kind of me in around kind of July. That's when I kind of cut off online coaching to kind of, I should have just stopped a lot sooner in all fairness, but when you got attachments, some clients don't want to drop it off there.
But how did you cope? Like, how do you cope with that? Like because presumably you're not just waking up every day and you're like, oh, of all the businesses, things I'm doing today, I might do a bit on this. Like, how is your day structured so that you're able to manage so much and do what you do?
At that point, the thing is, my day now is absolutely sweet, mate. I'm like, it's class. But this year, I was starting work at 5 o'clock in the morning, running, basically building seminars and stuff from 5 to 7 a.m. I was doing check-ins from 7 to 9 a.m. and I was basically starting one-to-one kind of calls with consultancy and mentoring clients until about 9 until 7 o'clock at night. That was the hard thing. Like, I don't know if anyone's listened to this, but if you've ever ran over 50 hours one-to-one call time like this across a week, it's mad. But then I'm building, because I don't just do calls with people, I was building stuff on decks and I was building the forms, building the processes kind of in between. And it were absolutely just like kind of blagging my head. And that was before the honeymoon. And that was not that, my honeymoon weren't that long ago, really. When we went to America, I was like, look, I don't do this anymore. So this is where we obviously built the team out now, because we're at the right investment point for it. It's like, look, I can now pay people very, very, very good wages to do very, very, very good jobs. And it's like, now our consultancy clients, they don't just get me, they've got 7 specialists in their areas. Like, so my diary now is on a Monday and a Friday, I have totally booked out of office. So, and I've never done that. I've never done that in my life. It's not out of office. I'm still working. I'm just not on calls. So for example, it means that on a Monday and Friday, I can think about people's businesses. I can plan. I can put strategies together. I can do stuff for my own companies. And then a big one for me was like, look, yeah, we've hit this revenue, and yeah, we are going to 100% double with what we've got planned, but I'm not losing sight of myself again. So the same extreme mindset. I was like, right, sound, I want to do so much madness. And then we'll basically plan to do a 1,200 mile cycle on May the 22nd. So from Land's End to John O'Groats, and then 6 weeks later, I'm going to be in an exhibition boxing match. So at the moment, I'm cycling best part. As a starting point now, I'm cycling probably 8 hours a week, boxing 3 hours a week, and then kind of training another couple. So I've gone from absolutely nothing to that.
Yeah. Do you think you continually need to have those things? So like, as your time's freeing up on one thing where you're now organized, you have the team in place, you have structure, that now you have to look for, like, what's that next thing that I can go after, that I can achieve? Yeah,
it's a very positive trait, but it's also a very, very negative trait as well. So I have, again, when I've worked with I've worked with a lot of professional therapists, high performance therapists and stuff like that, but I have mates, but like, it's basically this, it's like a concept of the treadmill effect. Like, I can operate at a fucking stupidly high level with work, not only work ethic, but processing information, as I've kind of spoke about with Mark before. The moment that I'm not challenged like that, then my head will internally go into me. So imagine all that work, what's kind of going on, all that hours, all that energy. The moment that's not there, all that energy comes back in on me. So I have to admit this. So right now, obviously, I've got the physical stuff. I've got boxing where I can't think. I've got training where I'm constantly moving, or I'm doing stuff in between. But the moment that I've not got that kind of challenge, then my mental health just goes west straight away. And it's happened time and time and time again over the years. Every time, everyone was quite concerned because they thought the moment that the convention was done, they thought I was going to crash. Yeah. And it's not crashes in deep, like, for example, where you have a burnout effect. A crash for me is where my head switches, and I go from being a very professional person to someone who's in a fucking frightening place very, very quickly. And I'll turn to turn to drink, I'd turn to drugs, I'd turn to fucking anything just to escape kind of where my head takes me. But obviously right now I don't need to do that because I'm focusing on fitness, I'm focused on training, and I've got a good flow. But that's the side what people don't really see.
Was there any element of that when the convention ended? Because the convention for you, and for those that I'm sure everyone watching this knows, was such an impressive moment, and you must have been so proud when you delivered that and had everyone turn up. Like after that, was there any kind of come down at all, or any inkling in your head that you were going to go on that spiral?
No, not at all. I was actually for the first time in probably 10 years, I was like, I need some time off. It's like. It's almost like the best way I could describe it is I think that this year was the first time that I ever lived up to my own potential or my own expectation of myself, because I've achieved a lot. And I mean, like, if you go over the years, like, even before businesses and stuff, I was doing some mad shit, like challenges, I would with charity stuff, walking Kilimanjaro, I get awards left, right and center, but nothing ever. I basically, and this is why, like, for example, people know that I don't do positive comments. I don't do positive reinforcement. I don't need that type of kind of gratification for myself at all. When people do say it to me, it makes me feel a bit fucking weird. Do you know what I mean? So it's a case of like, I used to just achieve stuff and just feel nothing from it. And that's, I don't know if anyone's watching that, but it's not a nice feeling. Like, I was like, for this for a long time, I was like, what the fuck can I achieve to actually be happy? Because that's what I was used to like. Probably spent 6 to 8 years thinking, right, I know that's something that's not right. And obviously I was getting a lot of help and support with it. But I was like, imagine achieving things that people could only dream about. But when you achieved it, you felt nothing from it. That was who I was until 2022. And
did you have the expectation of achieving something? So if you set like the coach convention as an example, that like, I'm going to do that. Did you always think that once I've done that, I'm going to feel accomplished? Did you have a level of expectation for yourself, or just you never even had that and it came around and it went and it was just, I feel the same as I did yesterday?
It was like, I had a bit the moment where I was like, it was almost, the best way I could describe the convention is I was as happy when it ended as when it started. Right. And it's really hard for people to say, not only because I was only supposed to do one talk and I got dragged into 5. So I was speaking for 5 hours. So I'm knackered by the end of it. But it was a case of when you've hit that level of work and frequency and intensity and overload, I was like, it was more of a relief than like, right, kind of, I feel shit type of thing. Straight away within 2 or 3 days, I was like, right, Sam, what's next? And that's when I started training for this, because I knew now I know. Whereas previously, what I've done with achieve things, I'd wait 2 or 3 weeks before thinking of something else. But in that 2 or 3 weeks, I go through hell. So I was like, all right, Dan, I've done that now. Sweet, we're straight into training, and I've gone straight back into CP education. And my team, if they watch this, they'll know that I've absolutely come back in and bombarded every single aspect of CP education across every single level, and everyone's like, fucking hell, Ben's back.
So it's so impressive to see from an outside perspective. And do you actually find enjoyment in the day-to-day, or is it just every day you just feel kind of content, or are there moments of happiness where you're like shit, amazing, I did this, like it's awesome?
I only really feel like I would say happiness for me is seeing other people achieve things, and happiness for me is knowing that I can do things for my like friends and stuff like that, where no one else could. Like, for example, when I could took all my mates to Dubai on the most mad fucking week known to mine, that made me happy.
Yeah.
For example, with me, when I do stuff, when I do stuff for me, it does not hit out. I don't feel shit about it. I just don't feel.
Yeah.
So, for example, like. It's like that's what I love with consultancy and education and stuff like that. Like, it's actually helping people. So like it all stems from that, from me, because like obviously people have probably seen like my auntie committed suicide when I was like 15, and there were a lot of bad stuff that were kind of happening at that point. But I basically attached myself to this concept of like, right, Sam, I don't care what I'm gonna fucking do in life, but I'm gonna help as many people as I possibly can. And when you look at what the framework that we've got now, it's, well, when you start looking at kind of the mental health side of it, like my philosophy, I would say, I'm not a mental health practitioner, but you can't fix something when it's already fucking broken. It's one of them ones like, look, when the moment that someone comes in and they hit that level of kind of low, like there's not much that you can do or say. I know from my own experience, because when I've been in those states of extreme low, God himself could come out of the clouds and come down to me. I'll tell him to fuck off. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of mindset that you're in when you're at that point. So I was like, look, if we can, if you create a form of kind of prevention before having to have an intervention, then you can help a shitload of people. And when I were a PT and I was working with 100 odd people, I knew that 100 odd people were very, very, very happy. And that 100 odd people might know 10, 15 people. So if you start the positive effect that has on everyone else, like it starts to create this ripple effect. So our actual marketing campaign for CP education in 2023 is Mission 100, because that's where my own true values lie behind what this, it's money sound, but what the fuck is money without meaning? Like you've got a passion project and you've got a profit project. And for me, if I focus on the passion project, then the profit's going to come. If I focus on profit, I've got no interest in it, so it's not going to go very well. But it's a case of
so you like measure your own success through how much of an impact you're having on other people's lives and how much you're able to help them fulfill their lives.
Yeah, basically that's how it kind of works. Like, don't get me wrong, I do have. So it's an hard one to explain, this one, and it's something that if you speak to my friends and my family and Stacey and stuff like that, the only time that they will ever think I will be content is the moment I have kids. That's what everybody says. Anyone who knows me personally will go, it'll click for you the moment you have kids, because at that point, there's no room where you can ever go in on yourself again. There's no room where you can do stuff like that, because you're always going to have something to think about. Like your reason why is not going to be for other people all the time. It's just going to be for that person. So that's it, Ron.
And so with Ben, the people that you're helping and where you've got to now within what you've been doing, and I've seen some of the testimonials that you posted online, some of the companies that you're working with, when someone actually comes to you and they're like, Ben, I need help, generally are there common things across businesses that you see that are like, right, these are the quick fixes? Like, is it common that you've got like a process of these are the 3 things we need to fix like straight away before we do anything else?
Yeah, so how but if you look at the education platform, it's like, look, it's very, very simple. Are you qualified? Yes or no. If you're not qualified, right, you need to get qualified. So that's what your level 2 and level 3 is there for. And when it comes to split between the academy and consultancy, it's a simple case, right? We have a qualification like, look, if you want to work with kind of consultancy, then it needs to be like, you need to be earning at least 6-7K a month, because I could set that lower and I could have heavy sales and skin fuck out of people. But what's the point in that? They're not going to be able to spend money on what I need them to in other areas. So, for example, if someone's under 6K, we'll get them to go into the academy, because that's like what we class as the 10K blueprint. Like the skills you will learn from that will enable you to have a £10,000 a month business. And then when it comes to consultancy, I'll have a kind of a call with someone, and again, it's our consultancy intuition now, the same as it used to be with coaching. When I take on a company, I kind of look at them. It takes me probably 60 seconds to figure out what they need to do. Like I did this, for example, Tommy Grit and Glory. I went to his gym within 5 minutes. I pulled apart every single service number, the profit, loss, marketing within 30 minutes on video. And like when I took on Pro Coach, we changed their whole model. So that, like, it's not a case of coming in and going, right, we're going to get you more clients. Changed everything and stripped it back to the bone to relaunch it again. And with the changes we made from that point, they tripled their referral revenue within 12 weeks. And we've not even hit a marketing campaign yet. But it's just, and it all comes down to experience. It's like, for example, when someone comes to you with something to do with an app, like you'll just know. Yeah. Because you've had that many conversations with that many different people, and you've been in that many different user faces that you just simply know. And it's like, for example, with me with consultancy now, like, the strategy, but it's like we have something called the business deep dive on the customer journey. And that's basically where I will dive into the person, dive into the concept, everything really. So if we need to come in and rebrand, if we need to come in and totally change tactics or whatever else on that side, then I'll kind of make that decision. Because when you go into business, you can have the best marketing, social media results, whatever known to man. But if you're totally missing the fucking target, then then it's not going to go very well. So that's what I kind of focus on. And then as we get to that point is we'll have like an automations review. So George comes in and goes, right, sounds so based on the company, the design, everything Ben said, this is what we need to do. Then we do the same for the marketing strategy, the same for the social media management. And then we obviously kind of build everything around that as like a combined team.
What are the most common things that people have issues with? Like when you go, so for these people that they're doing 10K a month, they come to you, are they generally, they've got to 10K and they're just stuck there? It's kind of gone stagnant. And then they're like, Ben, how do we now go from 10 to 15 to 20? Like, is that generally the type of person?
Yeah, you would be so shocked at how many people get stuck at 10K a month. The first thing is that when it comes to if someone's stuck at 10K a month, more often is the value of their actual service. So either they don't value it enough to increase the prices, or for example, they're just kind of not doing enough to warrant the actual kind of price increase. So that's just internally within the company with the same amount of clients to just simply earn more money. Like, look, are you actually charging enough, or are you just simply working with a shitload of people for cheap? Because you can't scale that type of model. Like, especially when you move into the next phase of, right, so you've maxed out. Like, I'll have companies coming in 20, 30K a month, and the directors at absolute max. And I'm like, right, well, we need to build a team. But then when you start building a team, there's multiple different avenues, skills, and expectations associated with that, because coaches are so used to working on their own, and they think that when they hire a team, then it's suddenly going to earn loads of fucking free money. Like, if you don't approach hiring a team properly, you're going to end up with a hell of a lot more problems. So, for example, straight away, just on an internal focus within the business, like, look, is the director at like true value, true max themselves? Are they operating as an actual director of a company? If they're coming in with the team, does the director and the team have the right skills to actually manage it? And then from the company framework, right, so do they actually have a customer journey? Have they got automated emails, touch points, triggers, landing pages? When it comes to social media strategy, for example, are they actually building more awareness and engagement? When it comes to kind of the operations side of it, which Stacey does, like, look, if they've already got a team, how are they actually operational right now? Are people even coming in and working together? So this is why we kind of come in and we hit everything in every single avenue. So like, so people don't have to. Like, I've got a full-time copywriter on retainer. I've got a full-time graphic designer on retainer. So basically, anything that any company needs at any point, we can cover. And we basically build out I build out the framework, and then we just literally go, right, sound, and we attack it. And it comes to that whole thing of like, look, it has to be one-to-one. Like, because if you're not doing something one-to-one with someone, then where are you actually going with it? Because speaking about, anyone can come in and speak about business generally, but if you want to make business a real success, then it has to hit a niche. So it's like Kahunas, like nobody's doing what you're doing, and that's why it's a success. But if you come in and jumped onto a kind of a mentoring service or looked online about a fitness app, you're probably about to download some little shitty fitness app for 15 quid or something, but you're not going to do anything with it. Whereas you've gone right down, and how many years you've been planning Kahunas now or doing it?
So we built it for 2 years, and then it's been live for like 18 months, 19 months.
So I mean, it takes time, and everybody's in such a rush. And so, for example, when you're hitting that 10, 15K a month mark, it's like, all right, so we need to build this type of framework for you to scale and not stop scaling. Right? And we work fast. I know, hands down, we work faster than anyone out there. And that's why we run our consultancies over 20 weeks, because it's just a bit of an ego boost for me, because I'm like, we can do it 1 month less than anyone else can, and we can do more in that time. So we do like 5 month contracts and stuff like that. But 5 months is still a long time. But in this day and age, everyone wants to be coming in, and when they see people posting on the stories going, oh yeah, Jimmy's added 10K to his thing, and he's got a screenshot of someone's message. So that sound right, he's got 10K, but like, where's it actually fucking come from? Is that an upfront fucking sale? Are they even telling the truth? Like, where's he scaling from that? Has he got job satisfaction? Is he happy? Because someone might earn 10K in 1 month, but they're totally missing the point with the setup. It's not aligned, and 6 months down the line, they earn good money in the first 2 months, and then it comes to it and like, sound right, well, where do I go from here? Because they've got no journey, they've got no strategy, they've got no belief in what they're doing. It's just heavily sales driven. So that's why I say that's how we operate is very, very different, and our approach is very, very different, and what we deliver is very, very different, and it's always just unique to the specific client at all times.
So knowing everything you know now and having worked with dozens and dozens of businesses in order to do this, if tomorrow you lost everything, so your social media disappears, all of your contacts, your black book, everything disappears tomorrow. No one knows who you are. Like, what would you do first thing tomorrow to start out all over again? What would be the number one priority?
Well, I'm deleting my Instagram in 2023 if I don't hit 10K followers anyway. So I can probably put this into practice. If everyone went bang, the first thing I would do is contact everyone. Because communication is the single biggest Achilles heel of any form of business. I can't do anything with exposure. I can't do anything operationally. I can't do anything with marketing, exposure, referrals if I've not got those connections. So obviously, if it's on a desert island or something, then I don't really know what I could do on Saturday. There is a running joke with my mates. They say that if you chuck me in Sahara Desert, I'd find a way to build a colony. They just say, Stu, or chuck me in woods with an axe and I'll build a house. But just like if it was like, say for example, shit just did hit the fan, then first thing I'd do is I'd just try and connect with as many people as possible. If I was on a desert island, the first thing I would be doing is trying to find someone or trying to flag someone down, because if you're doing this on your own, then you are fucked. Whether that be education, business consultancy, life in general, you can't do it on your own.
Yeah, super helpful. All the information, it's so much value for people to take away, and I'm so grateful that you came on today. For people to find out more about you, where do they go?
Education level 2 and level 3, and the business academy is at cpeducation.uk, or just hit my socials. Actually, give me a follow because I need to hit 10K down there. The coach consultant is launching a new website actually in the next couple of weeks. But again, if you want all the information that you need to find, will come through my Instagram account. Websites obviously got CP Education live, and the coach convention website is live. But if anyone obviously needs anything, then just drop me a message directly, and I'm happy to chat with people. Awesome, and we'll pop all those links in the video comments below. And thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate your time today. Class, mate. We'll get another one end of January when I'm in Dubai. Done. Right.